my hands got sick of having to type C colon D colon, copy this, print that, copy, copy. I used to have to copy things by hand like that. It's painful. Okay, so again, today we're in lesson 5 already. Wow, life is going by so quickly. There's a lot of little reading and things to cover this week. I do have a marketing class coming up, which I've been preparing all the material for. If you want to sign up for it, it's called Mobile Marketing, but it's really a social media / mobile marketing class. It's 25B. I linked up a video of some of the content or some of the concepts that we'll learn in that class. If you want to watch that and see if it's interesting to you, you might want to sign up for the class, okay? It's mostly on the open... and I'm going to quickly plug this in. It's mostly about the open project, open graph protocol. Okay, that's the way that you share data over the internet. Like if you want to like something on Facebook and you want it to show up properly, you have to use this open graph protocol to format your content so it shows up properly and stuff. So I don't know. I'm putting in here in case you want to learn a little bit. Watch this video right here. It'll teach you a lot. Okay, so just posting it there. Let's see what else we got. There's main reading. We'll do this next class because I'm already a little behind today. But again, this is the UX design reading. We'll quickly go through. This one talks about the flow. Okay, and the flow is a concept that is... kind of psychological concept in that as we start working and doing things, we like to be immersed into that environment. Like when I do pottery, I make pottery, I get immersed in it. I can do it really well if I concentrate, right? So it's kind of a psychological, but in programming and in interface design or UX design, it's a concept that, you know, somebody's interacting with your app and they're so immersed in that app that, you know, the outside world is kind of games are like that all the time, right? You start playing a game and you forget about time, right? It'd be an hour later, like, I can't believe I was playing this game for an hour, right? Okay, so the concept they call is the flow. It kind of comes from, you can just watch this video if you have time, the flow video, and how to make your life a lot better. it's kind of a... but people use this in programming and interface design as a way of people interacting and being totally immersed in your app or your design. So if you have time, watch this video. Again, before we start, let's jump to the copyright because I'm going to download some pictures today to use in my list. So I'm gonna do about 3 people. The most important concept today that I didn't write on the board here is that once I put all my pieces in this right here, right? I put all the pieces, picture, some text, their name, whatever, and so on. Once I have all this, I'm gonna put it into a group or into a folder inside of Photoshop. Do the same thing in Sketch, same thing in Illustrator, and I'm gonna duplicate that folder here and then duplicate it again. So any of these software programs, the key is that you group things together and then you can duplicate them and then change the content, right? Do you remember when we were making the photo with the mask, right, in the layer? Well, once I duplicate, so here's the photo. Once I duplicate it, I'll have another one, right, with the photo and the mask. And then all I have to do is change the photo and the mask is already the same size, right, and so on. So the key to duplicating, and then of course the text will come by and just retype the text and so on. So most important, other besides guidelines, is grouping things and then duplicating them. So before we start, of course, if you don't know anything about copyright, you know, as an artist or designer or whoever you are, copyright is the legal rights existing in many countries grant the creator of an original work exclusive rights to determine whether and under what conditions the original work may be used by others, right? So if I take a photo, it's my photo, you steal it from me, I can sue you, right? Okay, so the copyright is kind of been, you know, with the digital age coming about, you know, people have been sharing things online. They don't think about, hey, I can pretty much use anything, but you really can't. And I'm just pointing it out now so that as we move forward in the future with any class or any content you make, you should really consider not just going to Google, finding whatever picture you want, and slapping it into your design is what my whole point. Okay, you should really think about it. You should really learn about it. What is a derivative work, public performance, and so on. And I talk exclusively about this in my computer science class because most of my students in my computer science class are like right out of high school, 18-year-old kids. And, you know, they grew up in this digital world where, you know, they've been stealing, sharing. Hey, just take this song. Oh, here, I got a great song here. I'll share it with you, right? You know, and it's totally illegal in most senses. So, what can I do if I am a designer and I'm looking for things that I could use, right? I want to use things, and so there's two things I want to point out right now. One is I am let's say I'm a designer or a photographer. I love taking photos. I take beautiful photos outside and landscapes. I go to exotic places, take photos. I don't mind. I can put them online, let some people use them. Maybe they want to use them in their design. I don't care, right? Well, one way you can do that if you're a designer or creator or something like that is you use the Creative Commons, which is this right here. What is the Creative Commons? Well, it's a way that you can share your work online, but you get to keep the copyright. Hey, this is my photo, but I don't mind if you use it, right? A lot of the material we'll find online are like that. And hence, while we're trying to find pictures of people for my list, I'm going to use a Creative Commons picture because somebody said, hey, yeah, I took this photo. This person's pretty cool or whatever, and you can use it in your design. It's okay with me. Well, how we find those pictures is looking for the Creative Commons license. Okay, so that's what I'm going to look for when I look for things to put into my design today. If you don't know what Creative Commons is, we're going to watch this video. It's pretty short. So if you don't know what Creative Commons is, you should watch this real quick.
When you share your creativity, you're enabling people anywhere to use it, learn from it, and be inspired by it. Take the teacher who shapes young minds with work and wisdom from around the globe, and the artist who builds beauty out of bits and pieces she finds online, and the writer whose stories use ideas and images crafted by people you've never even met. These people know that when you share your creative wealth, you can accomplish great things. They and millions of other people all around the planet are working together to build a richer, better, more vibrant culture using Creative Commons. To understand Creative Commons, you need to know a little bit about how copyright works. Did you know that when you create something, anything, from a photograph, to a song, to a drawing, to a film, to a story, you automatically own an all rights reserved copyright to that creativity? It's true. Copyright protects your creativity against uses you don't consent to. But sometimes full copyright is too restrictive. What about when you want all those millions and millions of people out there to use your work without the hassle of coming to you for permission? What if you want your work to be freely shared, reused, and built upon by the rest of the world? Luckily, there's an answer. Creative Commons. We provide free copyright licenses you can use to tell people exactly which parts of your copyright you're happy to give to the public. It's easy. It only takes a minute and it's totally free. Just come to our website and answer a few quick questions like, will you allow commercial uses of your work? And will you allow your work to be modified? Based on your answers, we'll give you a license that clearly communicates what people can and can't do with your creativity. You don't give up your copyright, you refine it so it works better for you. Welcome to a new world where collaboration rules. It didn't even exist just a few years ago, but now there are millions and millions of songs, pictures, videos, and written works available to share, reuse, and remix, all for free. Want to work together? Then join the Commons. Creative Commons.
Okay, you get the idea. Okay, so as you are working on your assignments and things, you might consider looking for things that you can use legally. Okay, so let's go and find some pictures. Before I even start, I'm going to go and get some artwork and stuff like that for my design today. I like using Flickr. You can use whatever. But if you go to flickr, flickr with an r.com. It's a place where you can find images, right? Flickr. So I want some pictures that I can put in my list. I need some pictures of people. Of course, it'd be best if you don't photograph your own people, but if you don't have people to photograph, we can go and find some for design. So you can type in a person, you can type in people. I'm going to type in dude. I was typing in dude for some reason yesterday. Dude. Oh, the dude from the bowling movie. What was the bowling movie? Well, the Big Lebowski, right? You've all seen the Big Lebowski? If you haven't, you should go see it today. The dude. Let's see. Before I start, look up here. It says any license. Do you see that right there? No, if I click on that though, I can go down there. It says all Creative Commons, commercial use allowed, modification allowed, which means I can change it. Commercial use and modification allowed, right? No known copyright restriction, and of course U.S. government works are free for you to use as well. Things on NASA website. I've used things on NASA's website. I used to do a lot of trade show graphics for trade shows. I would go steal some images from NASA and put them in the trade show. Hey, where government works. So I would say commercial use and modification allowed. How about that? Okay, so supposedly, and as you go through and look, and I don't know, these are not what I wanted. I just wanted pictures of people. I thought a dude would be a person, but I guess a dude isn't a person. But you know, your design doesn't necessarily have to be people. This could be a member of my group, right? Could be an avatar, right? A lot of people in groups, they use things like this. And so if you say, oh, this might be a nice avatar for my my design, first you'll notice there is some rights reserved right here. So it'll tell you the copyright here, right? It'll tell it to you. So you go down here and you say, okay, let me see, can I use this in my design? You click on that and it should tell you, well, maybe not. Maybe if I just read there, yeah, some rights reserved take on December 25th. I don't know. There we go. You are free to share, copy, and redistribute this material in any medium or format. Which medium format? What? Put on your website, put in your poster, put in your presentation. You can adapt, remix, transform, and build upon the material for any purposes, even commercially. I can put that picture in my billboard, put it on 101. Right? Okay, so you can read these things again on there. A lot of times, you can download right here. There's a little download button. But if you want to be quick and easy and it's not even download, I might even just take a screen grab of it to do the Command-Shift-4. And then I can have it. I want a more square one because of my design. I want more of a square picture because of my design. So instead of downloading the original image, I use the Command-Shift-4. It gives you the crosshair, right? Do the crosshair, and you can draw a box across your design a little bit more square. Did you hear that? Again, I want more of a square design, so instead of downloading, I might do Command-Shift-4. I'm going to do another one because I missed a kind of front. I want more. There we go. Something like this. Steal screen grab. So there was one. I thought I had some more. What was I saying? Oh, this dude. This dude. Again, Command-Shift-4. I need like 3. So again, I'm going to steal this dude. There we go. And then last one. We need to find one more person. One more. Maybe a kid. No. Maybe this dude. There we go. Command-Shift-4. Okay, now I have 3 photos that I could use for. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is. So, any questions about the copyright? I tend to buy pictures mostly if I'm doing commercial things. I don't really do this often. if I'm doing commercial stuff, I go to like iStockphoto. So I tend not to do this. I usually buy photos and like iStockphoto. Oops, if you can spell it right. By Getty. You know. And so let's say you're looking for somebody working on a computer people, right? And then you want to use one of these. Hey, this would be great for my ad, right? Or great for my design. Again, it tells you how much it's going to cost, and so on. It might be restriction on if you can use it for certain things, but if you're working on a business or something, it's much better to just go and do something like this and pay for your picture. I buy pictures all the time. So, stock photos. Some of them are cheaper than others. It just depends. I think the price depends on how many people are using it as well, and so on. I bought pictures for $12, $10, so on. So there's plenty of different places you can get images. So you should look up copyright, and you should understand it as you go forward in life. You should know what copyright is. Again, the other thing is for my design today is I'm going to kind of follow a design guideline. So there is a link in Canvas to something called Following Design Guideline. This is the National Park one. If I click on it, it'll show, since I'm making a kind of a design for Friends of Yosemite is my design idea. You can download most of them, like we talked about already. Facebook has their design guide. What was it? We were also talking about Salesforce, right? So even a national park has its design guide, right? Tells you how the logo should be. And so, what can you do with the logo? What size? If you're using black and white, grayscale, or color. Where it needs to be positioned and placed. What type of font you need to use. These are both sans serif fonts right there. You can download mostly those fonts are universal fonts. They talk about sizes and where the placement of the artwork needs to be within the design. Now, of course, this is mostly for print, but they got web, right? And so on. So if you're building any kind of material for the National Park Service, you should follow these guidelines of what they're putting out here. Again, I'm going to kind of leave it kind of loose today. And so on. So again, they have the logo over here and so on. So site name is up here, and then the logo is over here. So my design on the board was a little wrong. I'll switch that around. The logo on the one side and the design on the other, or the text on the other. Okay? Okay, ready to get started? Last thing I'm going to do, I need some more artwork real quick before I start. One of them would be, of course, to get the logo for the National Park Service. What I'm going to go is just go and steal from the Yosemite website. So I'm going to go to the Yosemite website. S-E-M-I-T-E, Yosemite. There we go. And then here you got the National Park Service logo right there, right here. So instead of downloading that, I'm just going to steal again. I'm going to use the, I'm going to steal again using the Command-Shift-4, and I'm going to draw a box around the top up here. Kind of steal that. There we go. Okay, so you see me stealing a lot of things as I'm building my design. I go and use screen grabs a lot. Remember, we're just doing a basic mock-up, which basically a design idea. And so this is not something, if I was going to, have this as artwork that I'm going to put into my final design, I would download the official logo, which they do have as a vector graphic, and so on. But for my mock-up, which is just an idea of what the design would look like, I can quickly just put artwork in there. But again, if I was going to use the design that I'm making as a final design, I would use the appropriate artwork. For right now, I'm just doing, do I need anything else? I have that. I have that. Again, today I'm just going to demonstrate Photoshop. I know I wanted to go over Sketch a little bit, but we will start Sketch probably next. How about next class we do one in Sketch as well? How about that? We'll start that as well. So we'll do both. So again, today I will demonstrate mostly Photoshop. To demonstrate Photoshop, I'm going to start with a new artboard. I think I demonstrated that you can have multiple artboards in this software. All software has multiple artboards. To get an artboard up on the screen, I'm going to start with a file, new, inside of Photoshop. I'm not going to really choose. I'm going to go to web because my vision here is this would be something that would be on a website. Of course, it could be adapted as a responsive design for a mobile platform. But for today, my mock-up is going to be a kind of a medium-sized website. So for a medium-sized website, I'm just going to go to where it says Web Medium. So in this, again, there's common ones here in the New Document window. The New Document window is, again, under File, New or Command N. Get you the New Document window. And I'm going to go with a medium web design right here. Before I start though, I want the height to be a little bit more because I'm going to add like 3 or 4. So right now the width is 1,440 pixels, which is kind of a medium. It would be kind of a laptop. This would be maybe an older 13-inch Mac or laptop, right? That's why it's that. Where most laptops today, large ones, at least 15-inch, can do high definition. So when we look at the dimension here where it says 1920 by 1080, that is the normal high definition monitor. You might have gone to a store and bought a monitor and it said, what, 1080p, you ever see that? Or 1080i? You ever notice that when you were buying a TV too, right? So where does that 1080 come from? Well, it comes from the dimensions that you see here. Then look here, web's most common, 1366 by 768. I'm going to go with the medium though, this one right here. I'm going to add a little bit of height. So I'm going to go, let's just add a little bit more. Let's go with almost a square. I might go with like 1400 here. Ooh, it's not 1400, 1400 there. Notice how it says pixels as well. And you'll notice the orientation is this way, not this way. Well, it's almost square, so it doesn't really matter. And a white background is fine. I don't like to use a transparent background in my design, but you could use a transparent background if you would like. Again, there is a transparent option. You could choose a color if you want for your background, black and so on. I'm going to just leave it white. I'm going to hit create. So again, I have an artboard that's up there. First thing I'm going to talk about will be how do I bring my artwork in. In this case, remember the layers is where I'm going to store most of my content will be stored in the layers window. So if you go under window layers is where I'm going to spend most of my time designing right here. Layers right there. So the first piece of artwork I want is the National Park logo, which was the last screen grab that I took, right? Now there's 2 ways to bring it in. One way is to bring it in where you embed it into the artwork. The other one is a linked into the artwork. And so it just depends on how you want to put it in there. The advantage of putting it in as a linked graphic is that if you change it somewhere else, it'll automatically update in your artwork here. The disadvantage is if you have a linked piece of artwork and you don't include it with the other artwork, of course you'll have a broken link. So let's embed. So I'm going to go under File, and here's your 2 options that I'm going to use. One says Place Embed, the other one says Place Link. Again, the problem with the link is it's going to make a reference to the original file that's on my desktop, right? And if I save this Photoshop file and I put that on, let's say, my USB, and then I walk away without saving the other piece, it's going to have a broken link. So with the link option, you're linking artwork. With the embed option, you're, of course, embedding artwork. So I'm going to use embed because I don't want to deal with linked files. So I do use linked files a lot, especially in video editing, because I'll take and put artwork into my video editing application as a linked file. Then I can, work on my video, and then if I want to change something, I can just open it in Photoshop, make an adjustment, and as soon as I save it, it's updated in my video automatically without having to save and re-import and then put a new piece of artwork in. So linking is actually a very useful feature. So don't, you'd think embedding is probably the best way, but not always. So I'm going to place my artwork again. We have screen grabs that are on the desktop. When you take those screenshots, they go on the desktop. And of course, the last one I took is going to be at the top. As you can see, it says today at 9:56. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to hit place. It's going to place it in there. Now, when you place it in there, of course, you see some little squares that go around the outside. It's asking you, do you want to scale it? I can zoom in. You can see it. And the quality isn't very good because remember, we did it as a screen grab. But I'm going to make it a little bit larger. Again, I'm not worried about size today. So after I'm done doing anything to my artwork, if I'm embedding something, always go and hit this move tool right here, and it'll say, hey, do you want to make this possible? Right there, it comes up, hey, do you want to place this? I'm going to say yes. And there it is. I'm going to place it, on the left side, right? So again, move tool is the one I primarily use to move anything around, scale anything. If you don't see the dots or squares that go around the outside of your artwork when you're working, you remember there's a show transform controls right here. Show transform controls right there. And again, I can move it into my upper corner up here. I'm going to move it over here. Maybe a little further up. The other thing to keep in mind is that you're being deceived on actual size in Photoshop or any of these applications. They're deceiving you. What is the deception is the zoom factor. Right now I'm not looking at this artwork at 100%. I'm looking at it at 33.3%. If you look it up there in the upper corner where it says Untitled 1, because I haven't named my file, notice the next option, 33.3. It's actually zoomed in, or zoomed out in this case, 33.3%. If you want to see what it's going to look like on your monitor at 100% or 1:1, then you can see what size this logo is really going to be on your website, right? So if I zoom in, of course, I can hit Command plus, Command plus, Command plus. Ooh, look at that. And if I hit the space bar, it gives me a hand. That's the size it's really going to be. Look at the zoom factor now. See it at 100%. So when you're working in these programs, working on anything, think of the zoom factor. This is what it would look like on a website right now. That's the size. 100%. Okay? Well, in theory, that's not necessary. There's other concepts that could affect the size. But in general size, when you're looking at 100% here, this is what it would be. Okay, I'm going to put a black bar across. So I'm zooming out again so I can see all my artwork. I'm just pointing out the reason why things look the way that they do is because of the zoom factor. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a black bar that goes across the top. Again, I think last class or last couple times we were looking at Photoshop, I use a lot of these vector tools right here. See the vector tools right here? I like vector tools. You can scale them, and that's these ones. And so I'm going to go black and white. In fact, I don't want no black. I just want pure black right there. So again, I'm going to use the square tool right here with black, square, and I'll cancel that. And I'm going to draw a box across the top for a banner. So this would be like a banner across the top of your website. Boom. The problem, of course, right now is that I drew it after I put the logo in there, right? So if I look at my layer window here, you'll notice my rectangle is over top of my screenshot. In fact, we should change the name of this. Instead of calling it screenshot, we'll call it NP logo. There we go, NP logo. Right, so I have an NP logo and a rectangle. I can reorder these by dragging them around. See that? One under the other. So if I drag the logo, rectangle underneath the logo, you'll know, oh, now I see the logo. Right? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some text on the screen. Before I put text on the screen, I don't want to have anything selected because sometimes it thinks you want to attach the text to whatever you have selected. I don't want to attach any text to anything selected. So I'm going to use the text tool to type in my text that I want. I'm not going to use this crazy font. Let's just use our normal fonts. I know in the design scheme it said certain fonts, which I don't really have, I don't think, on these computers. So I'm just going to go with my San Francisco text. I'm going to click on the screen and I'm going to whoosh 200 points. I probably want about 48 maybe. And we're calling this Friends of Yosemite. And I want a left aligned. And let's make it white. Nope. Gotta highlight it all. Then make it white. And then let's move it above. Here we go. So I have Friends of Yosemite. Maybe you want it bold. We can make it bold. Semi-bold. There we go. So we have Friends of Yosemite. We have our national park. So one of the things I did talk about first off today was the guidelines. So next thing I want to do is organize my content. To organize my content in here, I'm going to use guidelines. Guidelines are useful in any program. I use them a lot, specifically in InDesign, especially when you're laying things out in a grid. Guidelines are great. Guidelines are great to make kind of your own grid. To bring up and make guidelines, you can do them visually, or you can actually type them in if you would like to specific locations. But for now, I'm going to do it kind of by hand today. To do that, I'm going to bring up the rulers option. To bring up rulers is underneath View, Rulers. Rulers right there. View Rulers. And you'll notice it brings up rulers there. And remember, our corner is 0. See the 0 here? And 0 is the upper left corner right here. So if you look at the rulers, you'll notice you got 0, 0 is always in the upper left corner. Is this in inches or pixels? I don't know. It's probably in inches. I don't even know. If you want to change the numbers that are up there, you can do that by using the preferences. And preferences is where you can change the ruling option. So if I want to look at pixels, I can go underneath Photoshop Preferences and go to where it says Units and Rulers. Units and Rulers right here. And inside there, you can change it to rulers to pixels. Then you can see pixel perfect alignment of artwork. Again, pixels right here. And then you can change your guide so that things, we can do this in the future because we're going to make artworks at specific size. But for right now today, just make sure you see that kind of thing. So now it sees it again in pixels. And so I can go now to make guidelines. The first guideline, again, I'm just doing this. This is not very specific. I'm going to put a guideline that is at the edge of my text here so all my stuff lines up. I put my cursor inside the ruler, hold my left mouse down and drag out, and I'm going to drag it to the edge of my text. I'm going to release my mouse. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Let me undo that for just a minute. Before you put a guideline out, and I know I kind of make this mistake all the time, I'm going to have no layer selected. The problem is if you have a layer selected, like see how I have the text layer selected? When I drag the guideline out, it only shows up in that layer. I don't want that. I want the guideline to be there for all layers. So before you drag a guideline out, click underneath here so no layers are selected, then put a guideline out. I made that mistake several times. I do that all the time. So here we go. I'm going to deselect all my artwork. Don't have any layers selected. Now go and put your guideline out. And you'll notice also that the guideline is lighter blue than the last one. See how light it is? So if it's a darker blue, it means it's attached to a specific layer. In addition, I'm going to drag another one out for the edge over here. So where the logo ends, I'm going to put one there. See that? And then if you want, you can put one here so that you can line up maybe the logo with this, because you can see now that this logo is a little bit higher maybe than the middle of that. So I could zoom in a little bit and I can grab my logo here and maybe, grab my logo here. And I'm going to use the arrows on the keyboard. I use arrows to move things, a little bit more precise in trying to drag something. So I can move it down. There you go. That's a little bit more in line right there. Did you see that? Just by nudging. The term nudging is what they use to describe that inside the software. So again, I have my banner at the top. It's all done. I'm ready to start putting my people on. Before I do anything else, I'm going to group all this stuff together so I don't mess with it. I don't want to mess with this stuff up here at the top anymore. To group it all together, if I go to my layers window, I can select all my layers by holding the shift key down. shift click, shift click, shift click. It selects all the artwork that's at the top up here, and I'm going to group it together into one group. To group it together, I go to the upper corner of the layers window. There is a pull down menu with this little, see the little lines right here? And I can group, new group from layer. Do you see that? New group from layer. And it groups them all together. This is my top banner. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to hit OK. And it makes a group right here. And then if you don't want to ever mess with it again, what can you do? You can lock it. I locked the entire thing. So this is set. I'm done with it. I got my stuff aligned. It's the top. Again, you can group it together into a folder. You can lock your group so you don't mess with it. And now I can start. I'm going to make my members now. So again, we're going to do my members next. Before I start, you could make a folder if you would like. Or you don't have to. You can make a new layer if you like. I'm just going to go right here. If you look down here at the layer window, I work a lot in the layer window. You'll notice there's a whole bunch of little icons along the bottom here. Again, this one, of course, is a new folder if you want. Create new group. It's right here. Group. We're going to put it in the artboard. Make sure it's in this artboard. So you can make a new group right there if you would like. And we'll call this Members 1. And then here it is. There's a new group. Now nothing can go in this group because of course it's locked. So here we go. I'm going to bring my first dude in because I called them dudes, right? So to bring my first dude in, again, remember the placement. I'm going to go under File, Place, Embedded, and I'm going to choose one of my dudes, and I'm going to place them in there. Of course, once you place them in, it might be too big. Remember, you can scale it down. I'm going to kind of leave it kind of big. This is just an idea. So I'm going to kind of leave it big. And so when you're done placing it or doing what you want, remember you can hit the Move tool and place it. And say place. Okay. So we got one dude. We might even call this Dude 1. In fact, I'm going to take Dude 1, make sure he's in the folder called... don't do that. I'm going to take Dude 1 and put him, make sure he's in my members folder. Notice how I dragged him into my members folder. For some reason he wasn't in there, but he's in there now. So we got Dude 1 in the members folder. Next I'm going to kind of zoom in a little bit. And again, I'm using Command plus to zoom in. Hold the space bar down to give you a hand to move around. Okay, so again, if you remember the mask, do you remember our famous mask? I know. We did it once. Let's do it again. And you can do it anyway. I know some of us do it a different way than me. I just do it one way. Remember, if I wanted this dude to be in a round circle, I could make a round circle. We did this last class here with the ellipse tool, if you remember that. And I can put my cursor over top of him right there, kind of in the middle. Or you can start in the upper left corner. That's fine. I might start in the upper left corner. And I'm going to start dragging. As I'm dragging, I'm going to hold the Shift key down to keep it in proportion. And there would be a perfect circle. I'm not going to go outside, so that would be my perfect circle for the dude. So again, as you're dragging, you drag with the Shift key will keep it in proportion so that you get a round piece. Then, of course, if you remember how to do it, I think, what did we have to do? Put the dude on top? Was it the dude on top and the ellipse on the bottom, I think it was, if you remember that. And then we clicked on the artwork and said, what did we say? Create clipping mask, right? I think that was it. Create clipping mask. Boom. And it did it. Okay, so, again, the photo's on top, the ellipse is on the bottom, and then we tell this to go down. Okay, so that's how we can do that. I know I showed that before. Hopefully you can remember how to do that, or you might do it a different way. I don't really care whatever way. I'm just pointing out this is one way that I might do it. Okay, next we're going to give him a member name. I thought, do you remember the stuff we wrote on the board last class, right? So I have some text here. I'm going to use kind of small text. This is not that important. And I'm going to put it underneath him right here. And we're going to call him, he'll be Great Climber. That would be his screen name. Remember, we're going to have a screen name, and let's make that black. Whoosh, climb, C-L-I, climb, how do you spell climb? Climb. The what?
A B is after the M.
A B after climb, climber?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that's going to be small. Let's make that like 16 pixels. So that's his screen name, Grape Climber. If you want to center that, you can use the center text button if you want, or so on. And next, what else were we going to put underneath there? We were going to put his screen name and what else? Oh, his location, right? Where he's located, right? So we'll put that in there, and we'll put in Palo. He's in Palo Alto. He's from Palo Alto. And we might make that a little bit different so that it's not screen name, because screen name is screen name. This could be something different, and so we might make that a little bit larger and maybe even a different color. Let's make it like a dark brown, and then maybe even somehow line it up. Okay, so we have his screen name and we have where he's from. If you want to center that, so then the key to centering it, again, I'm going to highlight the text here and use center align. I'm going to highlight. I know it's moving around. It's going to help you in the long run, though. Highlight the text, center align, and then move that around a little bit. And let me zoom in. And if you're having problems selecting things, you might need to, click over here in the layer window. Okay, so we have it, and notice it's not in my members folder where I want it to be, so you can drag it into your members folder. I don't know why it's not putting it in. I guess we have to have it selected before we start putting stuff in there. Okay, so the first line was going to be what he loves about Yosemite would be his first line. So his first line is going to be, I love the natural beauty, blah, blah, blah. And maybe we have some lines of text. Uh-oh, I just started typing. Not a very good idea. If you want to have text inside of Photoshop that is in a box that wraps, you can do that. Okay? Think of Microsoft Word, right? You get to the end of Microsoft Word in there, and it automatically makes a new line, right? Maybe you want to do something like that here. So don't click with the text tool. Don't do what I just did. What you want to do with the, and I'm going to delete this. You can just hit the delete key to get rid of something. Is that I can either do two things. One thing you could do is make a box if you would like. Either using the rectangle tool, like this. You can actually make a box and then have the text inside that box. Or probably a better way would be to use the text tool, and instead of just clicking with the text tool, you draw a box. So I'm going to click and hold the mouse down and draw a box like this. And it makes a box. Now I can type in my text. Oh, I went left a line. I can type in my text, and when it reaches the end of the line, it'll automatically wrap with a line weight. And of course, my line weight is a little bit too long, or my line height. To adjust things like that, you can do that by using the character window under character, and inside there you have one for line height right here. I don't know why it's at 48. It should be probably 18. Oops, highlight. It should be about 24. There we go. I think last class we were talking about line height and how line height is very important online because it's hard to read, and we tend to use a lot of line height. Whenever you do in line height, you'll see my font is at 18 pixels. They are point, not pixels, it's a point. And you'll notice the line height is at 24. Okay, usually the line height's going to be better. You don't want to do 18, 18. It's going to run into each other. The things that go down and things that go up blend together. In fact, we used to do that all the time, and I used to, before we would use computers to do things, we used to actually do print out text and paste it on a piece of paper. And we used to use somebody called a typesetter. And a typesetter would type the text into a computer, and it would print it out, the text on a white, black text on white, and I had to cut it out and then glue it down on the board. But in order to tell the typesetter what font you want and what line height you want, you would measure, you would put it on your board, you would have a board, and we would go 14, 16. And we would put it on the board. That would tell the typesetter, the typesetter is the person who made the text type, and I want 14-point text with 16-point line height. Okay, so you know it's common to have larger line height than font size. Okay, next thing, so I just kind of randomly threw some text in there. That doesn't really tell me much, so we might actually put in some things. So if this was a real members list, what would we have above this text maybe? We probably wanted what you love about Yosemite, so what do we want to write? How would we describe that? I need a title up here. We could call it love if we want. Love. So I'm going to make that text a little bit larger and maybe change the color a little bit. So again, you can choose colors over here just by clicking on there or up here for text. And so we can make a nice orange text. There we go. Love. Yes, there we go. And of course I'm randomly putting that in. So this is what he loves about Yosemite, this dude. And then what else was I going to have about Yosemite? Oh, their favorite location, right? Oh, don't want to do that. If you're going to change the box, use the text tool. Okay, so we have text, what he loves about Yosemite. You could bring in a guideline here to make sure you line things up. Notice how I put a guideline in there. Uh-oh, what did I make a mistake? What mistake did I make? Look at the guideline. What color is it? Dark blue, and the reason why is because I had a layer selected when I put the guideline in there, and the guideline will only show when that layer is selected. So I don't know why they did it like that. It's confusing me. Before I put a guideline, so I'm going to undo that. I'm going to click outside, then put a guideline in. And there we go. That's a little bit better. And then I can put a guideline towards the bottom as well. There we go. And so we were going to put in maybe some likes or something else. Let's just do the other side over here. Let me put a guideline at the top. And then let's put in favorite spot. And so I'm going to duplicate this love text right here. Oh, to duplicate anything inside of Photoshop, Illustrator, or any of these programs, to duplicate anything, you use the Move tool and the Option key on the keyboard. So I'm going to duplicate this text, and I'm going to put it on the other side by holding down the Option key. If that doesn't work, it's most likely because you have some things selected. You're not zoomed in enough. So you can also copy and paste, which I might do anyway. So I might copy and paste this. Nope, that's not going to work. Okay. It wants me to do something here. So if you're having problem doing anything, always go back to the Move tool, and it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to place this? Do you want to do that? I know it's just a pain. But if I copy and paste this, it'll give me two of them. And again, copy is Command-C, paste is Command-V. And I'm going to move that over here. And we're going to have like a favorite place section. So I'm going to type in, or is it recommend? I want each person to recommend something. I don't know. I'm just using words. I would probably have thought about this a little bit more than just that. Okay, let's talk about alignment. Another way to align, I know we have some nice grids on there, but another way to align is to actually use the alignment tool. In all the programs, Illustrator, Photoshop, Sketch, they all have an alignment tool as well. That alignment tool is located up here at the very top when you have the Move tool selected. So when you have the Move tool selected, if you put your cursor all the way at the top, again, you got your Show Transform controls. Am I selecting a layer or a group? And then here's the align features. Right now, it's going to align to the actual artboard and not to anything else because you have nothing else selected. But if I want to make sure that this recommend text and this love text are exactly aligned to the bottom of each other, I can select both of them by holding the Shift key down in the layer window, and I have both of them selected like that. You'll notice right now when I have both of them selected, they're not lined up. You can see the love is higher than the recommend, right? So to line them up, I'm going to line the bottoms up right here. Now that works okay for right now, but if you have sometimes a descender in the text, and I'm using the arrow keys to move once I do it, so they're perfectly aligned at the bottom without having to put a guideline across. But one of the problems you'll run into is if there's a descender, which would be like a P or something that has text that goes down, then it might not line up because it's aligning the entire box. Did you notice that? When I have, so if I click on this, you'll see there's a box, and if I click on this, you'll see it's a box around it. But if you have a descender going down and you select it, the box is actually bigger because the P has a little line that goes down, right? And then it won't be lined up. What you want is the, of course, the bottom of the letters to be lined up with the bottom of the letters here. So a descender may mess that up. So you might have to shift. I don't know. That's not as easy as just hitting the button. Let's put in. So if I put recommend here, that won't show me a picture of it though, right? I just put a picture here, but I want to write a little bit about what he recommends. Should I put a recommend down here then? What do you think? Because I want some text that this dude recommends. And then the picture over here? I don't know. I thought, purpose of my Friends of Yosemite is that these are all becoming members of, again, let's rehash. These are all becoming members of the Yosemite group, and they're kind of on the national website, and they're recommended where I should go. Hidden places, right? You love those hidden places, right? Nobody goes there. Where would I put that? Here, over here. I don't know.
Yeah, I like where it's at.
You like where it's at now?
Yeah, gives you a lot of space to put text in.
Yeah? Okay, good. And then I can duplicate this text, Option, click, and drag, because we want the same text here and here. Maybe we could put a picture over here of what I love. What do I love about this? Let's see. We could steal a picture from the website. That's not there. Where's Yosemite? Oh, there it is. I like El Capitan. If you want to steal this picture, you can use, again, Command-Shift 4. Let's take ourselves a nice square box here. Again, I can go back to my Photoshop, and I can place that in there. Place embedded. Again, I'm going to place that picture I just put in there. I might put it over here. What I love. Line that up with the bottom of the text. Line it up maybe. And then, of course, this needs a title. And somehow we need to kind of make this recommend here with this. I'm struggling with my layout. I haven't really planned. That's where I should have thought about this a little more. I just drew on the board last time, right? Yeah. Okay, let's just slap some other artwork in here. It's more important that I'm showing you how to use the Photoshop than, what the content is. It's more important that I need you to learn how to put things together like this is what I'm trying to say. And content-wise, it's up to you. Let's say I wanted the thumbs up like thing, right? So I can go to the internet and you can Google that real easily. So we can do the like thumb. Here it is, like thumb. You can go to images. There we go. This is the Facebook one, right? Or how about this one? Or this one? Or this one? Or this one? Which one you like? Like. This one? Or this it? Or this one? 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 This one? And we can steal this one. Another way to get it into Photoshop is just copy and paste. No need to make a screen grab. I can right click here, say copy image.
Not a PNG.
I can't copy and paste a PNG?
You can, but you'll get a background on it.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Let's try it. So what, the white, it comes over as white. Oh no, it works.
Wow, on mine it doesn't.
That's okay. It might work, it might not. It depends on maybe the PNG maybe. So whatever. So again, you can copy and paste. I'm going to move that up here. I don't know. I'm randomly throwing things in now. Hopefully you think about it. I'm almost done. Okay, so this is the last thing I'm going to put in. So again, I put all this stuff that you see here under members right there. See that? Under members. So once I have one member done, right? Once I have one member done, you can make sure you really think about your content. I was just trying to show you how to use the software. Really thinking content. Hopefully you plan a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to duplicate the member 1 and to make member 2. To duplicate member 1, I'm going to duplicate this entire folder. To duplicate the entire folder, you right-click on it. In the right-click on there, you'll notice it says Duplicate Group. It's the 4th one down. Do you see that? Duplicate Group. And it duplicates, and of course this is going to be not member 1, this will be member 2, right? So I'm going to say Duplicate Group, and it makes a whole new group here. I can take that whole group and I can move it down below the other one. Then it's easy enough to swap out images. I'm going to swap images. How do I swap out images? Well, you can bring in new artwork. So in there, of course, I don't want this dude. I want a different dude in there. So I can place a new dude in. And I can choose a new dude. I think we had a new person, didn't we? Didn't I have I don't remember which dudes I had here. There we go. My little avatar. And let's make sure it fits in there. And so once you have it in there, I can then drag it around. I'm going to drag it to above this. And I'm going to delete this guy. There we go. So we have a new guy in there. So again, just make it above, just drag it above your ellipse that you had in there before in member 2. Drag it above your ellipse and it'll take its place. And of course, this is not going to be Great Climber. I would click on the text. I'm going to zoom in. He's not going to be Great Climber. He's going to be Wood Chopper. Wood Chop. Is there 2 O's in chopper? Chop, 2 P's. There's 2 P's in wood chopper, right? Okay, we'll call him wood chopper. Notice how it's writing from the center because I center aligned it. And then, of course, he's not in Palo Alto. We'll put him in. Again, notice how I select the layer before I try and type the text. Makes it easier to select the text when you select the layer. So maybe they're from San Jose. And then, of course, you could go and change the rest of the stuff. You can bring in another guideline if you would like to try and align things. Oh, I did it again. Notice a blue, dark blue guideline there. And so on. So again, just duplicating everything, and of course changing all the stuff is all you need to do for your next member and so on. So when you're all done and you want to show this to somebody, you say, this is great, I want to show it to my friends. Of course, the guidelines are a little bit deceiving because they're distracting. So you can either hide the guidelines, or sometimes there's actually some display options over here inside of Photoshop. So let's say you wanted to show this full screen, 100% to your family, friends, colleagues, whatever. You can do that by using, of course, you can zoom in if you want to your 100%. You can come over here to the very bottom where it says change screen mode, and I can then go to full screen mode with the menu bar. Full screen. That's not working. Oh, it doesn't fit. I have to cheat a little bit. There we go. So there is a full screen option where, hey, I'm showing that. If you want to turn off the grids, there is a command key for that if I can remember it. It's under View. Where's grids? Grid, show, grid. It would be command, comma. Or no. Yeah. Command, comma. See, is that comma there? That one? Comma? Yeah. So again, I'm in full screen mode. Let's go back again. This is full screen mode. Full screen. You don't see the panels or anything, and then hold down command this. There we go. Command comma. To bring them back, command comma, command comma. So there you go. You can then go and show this. Hey, print it out or whatever. I know I showed a lot of things. I'm going to quit talking right now, and you can talk to your friend before we leave. And I know next class I'll give you more time that you can help, and I'll help you make your own layout. So you should plan a little bit in the last 10 minutes we have, okay? Sorry, I showed a lot, but there was a lot to cover.